Welcome to the Amazon's podcast. I'm Glenn Young, owner of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. Celebrate the female physique. Subscribe to AmazonsFitMag.com. The podcast is brought to you by GPS Photography and Video. Why photography and video? Because of a photo's worth 1,000 words, video's worth 1,000,000. GPSPhotoandVideo.com. My guest is NPC wellness competitor, up-and-coming coach. She is the host, and we have a mutual friend in Ashley Jones, of course, of the Dopamine for Real podcast. Hopefully I got that right.
No.
And, of course, owns her own business, Awaken Physiques. Saw a lot of your great content and reached out to you. So thankful that you came on the podcast, Brittney. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm happy to be here. It's Chase Real Dopamine podcast.
Chase Real Dopamine.
You got to get that right, Glenn.
Chase, I do. Ashley would be upset. Chase Real Dopamine. Mm-hmm. That is the podcast. You are the host. And, of course, your co-host is Ashley Jones.
Yes, ma'am.
Soon to be, will be, at one point in time, if not this weekend, the new Miss Olympia of women's bodybuilding.
I think she's on her way there right now. I think she's on her flight right now. So
yeah. All the competitors are starting to arrive. I saw Sarah Villegas, Women's Physique, posted her annual pic of her on the airplane with her husband flying into Vegas. So good stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to be there and go and support and everything. So
tell us, who is Brittney Holloman? Your mother was a figure competitor, and you've done all divisions.
Basically.
Yeah.
So
to include women's bodybuilding.
Yeah. So my mom, how I was exposed to bodybuilding, my mother was a figure competitor. So I was exposed to bodybuilding pretty young. And so my concept of what was like the standard for an acceptable physique was like kind of created really, really young. And looking at bodies, like my mom would, we would be watching a show and she'd tell me to place them. You know, she'd be like, from who you're seeing, how would you place them? And I would place them. So that was like our one way that we really connected, especially as I got into my adolescence and actually started understanding fully what she was doing and why. Because as a child, like you just see your mom prepping for a show, she loses a ton of weight and then she, grows and you're like, what are you doing? But really there were things that she was asking me to do, like, little things like take out her chicken at certain times and stuff to like make sure that things were ready so that she could be a mom and also take care of us at the same time. And so that kind of like that exposure, it didn't really create a passion for me until I started doing it. So when I started doing it in my college years, I started in bikini. And I was actually a crossover for figure for a couple years. And then I went to nationals in bikini. And I ended up just deciding that I wanted to grow into figure after that. So I did figure for a few years. And I think I was pretty successful transitioning. But I definitely wanted to go into like a bigger physique, especially my lower half. I wanted to grow that area. And definitely when you look at my stage shots, you can tell I'm just a little bit smaller up top. Could be an issue with training or whatever. It could be many things, but ultimately I wanted to go with the physique that I liked in the off season and during my prep time. So I went with wellness. And so now I'm transitioning to wellness and I'll be getting on stage for that division next year. And I'm about 99.9% sure I will be staying in that division. But I have also competed in women's bodybuilding as well. And I've worked with Ashley. You had brought up Ashley. I'd worked with Ashley for posing for women's bodybuilding and figure. Which is how her and I like created the friendship that we have. That was our initial exposure with one another.
So when you grow into the division that you are, your body will tell you. Did your mom give you any advice as to which division you should go with?
That's a really good question. My mom wanted me to stay in bikini because she was in figure, right? And that was years ago when figure was as big as bikini is now. And so, her idea of what a feminine, cute, physique is, that was her idea of what that is. So she was like, I want you to stay in bikini because it's it's smaller, it's more attainable, kind of all those things that people tell you when you want to keep your femininity. But I told her I definitely feel that I can keep my femininity growing. And so it's just hard because the mindset of women back then is different than it is now. It's the women that I am around, we're a lot more knowledgeable. When we choose something, we're sure of it, and we're not like constrained with the thoughts of society of being able to grow into a division and also be feminine. Like, I think that we've broken out of that, a lot of us at least. So I've her and I have talks about it all the time, but I want to be big and she knows that. So that's how it goes.
So it wasn't really a thing of not liking women's bodybuilding or disliking figure or bikini. It's just what you wanted to grow into. And what was really the defining moment to choose wellness? I mean, you look bottom heavy, but I mean, I'm a photographer, not a judge. So
yeah,
everybody looks good to me.
Yeah. So, so when I competed in bikini, I felt like I wanted to be bigger on stage. I wanted to have more muscle on stage that I'm not saying bikini doesn't ask for, but I wanted my body to be a lot bubblier, have quads, have delts, have an upper body. And so I was like, I think for a personal preference, I should probably grow. And I started moving into the figure division before wellness was announced in like 2020. And then wellness was announced and I was already moving into figure. So I'm like, I'm just going to continue on with figure because I like the division. It's giving me what I want. I enjoy the training style. And then I saw my stage shots for figure. It's not that I disliked my stage shots. It's that I could see my physique going any way I felt like. I'm not clearly defined yet. I was like, I'm not clearly defined yet. I'm still pretty small up top. And honestly, if I decided to train my lower half and kept my upper half the way that it is, I would probably be successful in wellness. And I honestly like the look of that division. So it all came down to how I was changing as a woman and how I wanted to feel and look. And what I felt like I would also be competitive in and be successful in. So it's a combination of things. And it happened over time. Like, I didn't not succeed in a division and say no to it. Like, I was successful in these divisions. It's just my body wasn't clearly defined yet. And I wasn't big enough to have a definition. So I'm like, I can do whatever I want right now. So let me figure out what I want and I'll go from there. And so far, someone actually told me when I was in between figure and bikini, she was like, your choice in what you stay in a division is going to depend on how you like to train. So if you like to train a certain way, your body's going to show it, which is why, my lower half grew a little bit more, even though I wasn't the best at training back then. Now I'm a lot better. I'm a lot more intentful, but she was like, it's going to depend on that because that's your longevity. Like, that's everything in bodybuilding is training. So once I started training for wellness, I was like, I really, really like this. I like the style. I like the time off that I need to take because I train every other day because it's legs every other day. I like how much I need to eat. I like the recovery aspect and I like how much I'm learning. And so that's when I decided to stay with wellness.
Talk to me how you ended up in Texas with Ashley and how did you meet Ashley?
Yeah, Ashley. So her and I started working together when I was training for figure and I was in a figure prep and I hired her as my posing coach. And I told her, I was like, hey, like, I also kind of want to do women's bodybuilding. And she was like crazy because I love posing. So if you haven't like kind of figured out by now, just with the short talk that we've had, I love bodybuilding in its entirety. I love all divisions. I think they're all beautiful in their own way. And it's a different experience to prep for each division because your training style is different. Your presentation is different. And so I had this, like, I want to learn everything that I can. And I'm going to prep for figure, but I would love to feel what it's like to have a women's bodybuilding routine. So I hired her to help me with that. That's how we got connected because she was like, I love this mindset. She's just like, I love like everything that you're you're feeling about this, because
Mhm.
a lot of people, they go in to bodybuilding for the wrong reasons. Maybe they don't like their body, or they're trying to change something. But I think that Ashley and I got into bodybuilding because we're very passionate about seeing our best selves.
Mhm.
We're very passionate about presenting and seeing the creativity that people put into their routines, and the intent that they put into their preps. They're very hard. And so that's how her and I were able to connect the way that we do. We just have the same values and ideologies.
How was the judges' feedback from one division to the other?
Mhm.
Did you get feedback saying, "Hey, you should be wellness," or maybe you should stay here, or did you just follow your own heart?
Yeah, I definitely followed my own heart there. When I was a crossover, and I did figure and bikini in the same show, the
Hmm.
judge feedback was, you have a really nice figure shape, but you seem to be more comfortable with the posing for bikini.
Okay.
And if you decide to go to figure, you're going to need to put on a lot of size. And, you're going to have to find your flow when it comes to the figure division, but you look great in both. It was like one of those things where I presented a little bit better as a
Hmm.
competitor, because I knew I was smaller. Like, I knew I was smaller, and I was just more comfortable with the fact that I know I'm smaller and this makes more sense for me right now, but man, I want to be bigger. Like, and so when I got to figure, my feedback was, you need to get bigger. Like, when I went all in on figure, they're like, you
Right.
need to grow. They didn't tell me go to wellness, but they
Hmm.
were like, you need to grow if that's what you're going to do. And so I was like, okay. And I was growing, and I was like, well, if I'm going to just continue to grow and I'm going to take a lot of time off, I would really like to put all of my energy into my lower half, and just kind of let my upper body coast where it's at. And so that's what
Right.
I've done. And the proportions for me have definitely changed. I'm not quite, in my opinion, not quite ready yet to be competitive the way that I want to be, because
Right.
I do want to be at like the national level when I go on stage for wellness next year. So I have a couple pushes left, but
Hmm.
uh, it was more so a preference in how I wanted to express myself. So I was like, I was a little bit more comfortable with the more feminine posing in the heels and things like that. I want to keep that.
Hmm.
And with women bodybuilding, that was more of a fun, like, bucket list thing, but I wasn't bad at that either. Like, I was
Right.
really good at it. And so it was like I could do anything. And that's just a testament, because I love the sport. Like, I just love
Right.
it. So any division I'm doing, I'm gonna put everything that I can into it.
And you gotta love it from the standpoint of the competitiveness and then the work ethic. You gotta
Mhm.
figure with wellness, probably a shorter prep than it would with women's bodybuilding, 19, 20 weeks. When you look at going into 2026, have you looked out to choose a show yet? Or are you still in the planning phase, you think?
Yeah, I have selected around the time frame that I want to compete, which would be
Okay.
August next year.
Okay.
There are definitely shows out here at that time. So I'm not gonna like name any shows, because I don't know yet like which
Right.
show it'll actually be, but I'm thinking around August, because that would leave me right before junior nationals, I believe. So
Hmm.
I'm trying to time it to where I can at least, if I'm ready for that level of competition at the like in the wellness division, then I can hop into that. So I'm trying to be a little bit strategic about it.
Well, there certainly won't be a shortage of wellness shows. There will likely be a shortage of women's bodybuilder shows. But and then you got a great sponsor, title sponsor in Wolfpack for the division.
Mhm.
Have you peaked at wellness? It just seems like it's evolving right before our eyes. More muscular glutes. And of course, y'all train the largest muscle in the human body, that is the gluteus maximus minimus. Uh, what do you do? What do you like to train with? Is it hack squats? What do you feel you need to build? Have you compared your physique to someone that, hey, I really want to look like Francelli Matos or Warda?
So as far as which question should I answer first? That was a lot of questions.
Just lay it on me.
Okay, so My
But I'll remind you if we miss something. But go ahead.
Okay. So I really like training my glutes. It's like one of those things where I want to train the thing that I know I need to bring up the most.
Right.
Because I was in figure, so just like kind of thinking about the transition in figure, you're not emphasizing the glutes, you're emphasizing your quads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I'm already quad dominant. So as a transition, right, from figure, I need to focus on my glutes because those are the areas that is the area that is underdeveloped for me because I spent years working on my quads and hamstrings for figure. So right now, it's been a really big learning process in bringing up my glutes. As far as like what I'm seeing at the amateur level, because I am an amateur. At the amateur level, I've actually observed this year that they're in class A, because I'm in class A, they're really favoring shape and they're favoring posing. Like they're favoring the presentation of the competitor. It's not as much about size. I've seen big girls that I was like, oh, she's getting her pro card, not get their pro card. And I think that's them trying to continue to keep the presentation at the highest emphasis for the division instead of it just being about size. Because otherwise the wellness division will go that way because the girls are massive, like they're huge.
Yes, they are.
And so as far as the pros though, I am seeing a combination of both. Like they are looking for more size. Obviously it's bodybuilding, so you can't go with no size as a pro. But I'm seeing a difference in what they're emphasizing for the amateur level versus the pros. And I've seen some big pros, win their Olympia qualification. So I'm interested to see all of them on stage, the ones that have won, and what they choose. Because I think that this year there's the girls that are at the Olympia for wellness are a lot bigger. So I wonder if they're going to choose the bigger ones for the top 5. So we'll see. And then what was your other question?
Well, the thing about it is when you look at your strategic plan as far as what show you want to look at, and again, going into junior nationals, wellness to you, what does it mean? How tall are you?
I'm 4'11", so I'm a
short. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Kind of like Melissa Guerrero. She's right the same height.
Yeah.
When you're shorter, I think you have a better presentation because it's less to train. Taller girls, I think, have a harder time trying to get their glutes, mesomorph, ectomorph, endomorph, as far as the body types. But what do you see your best plan as far as, and it was leading into how you train your glutes? What particular exercise? How do you get that tie-in to your glutes? Obviously, not doing figure, you're not going to train upper body, right?
Right. No. So because my upper body is already pretty developed, because I was training for figure, I don't train it at all. And in fact, I find that even carrying big weights around, like, is a detriment to me because my upper body will still try to grow. It'll if anything, I have grown and I haven't even really trained it, which is crazy because I'm holding weights for my RDLs, deadlifts, things like that are really, really heavy because my glutes are so strong now. So now that I can actually pull and I'm gripping such big weights, like my upper body is growing, which is interesting for me to recognize and see. If you look at comparisons from last year to this year, like my upper body has still grown. It's just not to the degree it would have if I would have been training it directly. But when it comes to creating your glutes and creating that tie-in and the upper shelf that we're looking for in the wellness division, upper shelf's always going to come from glute med. So your abductors, like abductor exercises, glute med, kickbacks, a lot of women will neglect their glute med. And so the judges will give them feedback and they're like, you need that upper shelf. You need to have more rounded glutes. That's basically what they're asking for. And we need to not neglect your glute med in that. So that would be any abductor type of exercise or glute med kickback, stuff like that. What I'll do, because I needed that, I definitely needed that because I wasn't training that at all. I always start with those in my sessions. I start with abductors and kickbacks so I can start priming the muscle and start getting it engaged before I go into larger movements that I might not need as much care with, like the glute max. Because, for example, with figure, I'm gonna be doing squats. I'm gonna be utilizing that area without directly working on it. So I'm gonna be okay in that area.
Right.
So glute max is gonna be, your glute bridges, your hip thrusts, stuff like that. But we don't want to stop there. Like, we definitely want to think about making sure that we have larger compound movements in. So like I said, squats are really important. Hack squats, especially if you're trying to target the quads. And then just looking at foot placement too when it comes to training the glutes. So if you're gonna do pressing movements, you might want to do a hip press to target your glutes instead of a leg press, because a leg press is going to be a little bit more skewed toward your hamstrings and your quads. So it's kind of one of those things where you have to know the differences in foot placement and machine use and where gravity is telling you to push. So if you're going to push forward, you're probably going to use more glutes because you can get more knee flexion back. If you're going to use a traditional leg press, you're probably going to get more quads because your point of gravity is going to be in front of you. Above you. So it's just one of those things that you kind of have to be knowledgeable about where you're targeting those areas.
And I was going to say, after you at the pro level, is there a physique that you follow or physique that you want to be like, or do you have a favorite pro level going into Olympia this weekend in wellness?
So the thing is about me is that I like the girls and I like who I like, but there's not really anyone I want to be like because I'm so focused on my physique. I'm just so focused on bringing my best.
Right.
And I mean, I love bodybuilding, so I love the big girls, and I will usually gravitate toward the bigger ones like Tiffany. She's a big girl, right?
Yep.
Has been told in her feedback that she needs to bring down like areas in her quads, and how she did that was actually changing her posing. Right. So in order to emphasize her glutes, you see that she turns her knees inward so that she can emphasize her glutes and not have her her quads hanging out when she's in her back pose. And so like I like observing stuff like that because at the pro level, downsizing is not the only way that you can change your presentation when the judge tells you that you're too big. You can change that by adjusting your posing. You can change that by the details of hair, makeup, stuff like that, length of hair, covering, stuff like that. So I will pay attention a lot to those things to apply to myself, but I don't really look up to anyone in the wellness division yet. I can't tell you yet. Right. When I was in figure, I definitely looked up to Sid. Obviously, when I was working with Ashley and we were doing women's bodybuilding, I looked up to her, but I don't have anyone yet that I really look up to in that way.
Yeah, Tess looks huge. We'll see how that pans out. Her first Olympia as wellness. Also, Shanique Grant, Miss Olympia Women's Physique at one time. Now she's doing wellness. It's interesting how she's brought her body down to focus on the glutes. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. Size, symmetry. But to your point, it doesn't matter how good your physique looks if you can't present it, and that means posing. Because a lot of girls look great in their physique, but they don't know how to present it. They can't pose. And someone that will outpose a competitor whose physique may be slightly less is going to win out because you're presenting it best to the judges.
Definitely. And like I actually didn't even think about Shanique. So that'll be she's making history doing that this weekend, right?
And it's sort of interesting with you coming from figure to wellness. She's coming from women's physique to wellness. So maybe that's one to watch, one to look at. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, are they going to go for the big girl, the glute definition? We'll see how it pans out. And then, of course, there will be a new fitness competitor. Missy Trescott is going to figure. And of course, my favorite, Jessica Reyes Padilla. So, loving all the women's divisions. What were your thoughts when Fit Model came out? Did you even consider the Fit Model division?
Have I considered like?
Well, I mean, when it came out, because I call it bikini light, it's definitely going to grow just as every division started somewhere. Everybody was dogging women's physique when it came out. The same for wellness. Even bikini saying it was too muscular. And now you got the Fit Model division, but that's the one that most look like the girl that come right off the street. Not as muscular physique, plain suit, and then they'll be in the Olympia next year for the first time.
So I'm, as a coach, like I want to be as positive as possible, especially somebody who works with people that are just coming into the sport. And a lot of the people that are women that are just coming into the sport now, they're and that want to stay natural, they're gonna try to do Fit Model because they're gonna feel it's more attainable for them.
Yeah.
Would I do that? Do I think it's bodybuilding? No. I'm just being honest. Now, am I positive about the growth of the bodybuilding industry as a whole? Absolutely. I do think that if that's going to help the bodybuilding industry funnel in whatever they need to monetarily, great. But as far as prepping a Fit Model competitor, it's not the same as somebody who's trying to put on muscle. Like it's not the same as somebody who is trying to get peeled out of their mind. Like the level of effort and it is what it is. The level of effort is just different. And it's less than it is. And it still is very much difficult. I'm not saying that it's not. It's difficult for female models that are doing runway work to stay in shape the way that they are. But the type of work that you're doing is different than somebody who is trying to be very big and trying to more muscle, especially in the off season. Like you don't have time off. Like I feel so much pressure to get as big as I can before I go compete next year in a division that's bigger than what I've ever been in before. Like there's pressure there. Whereas smaller divisions, they don't have that pressure. So until you fully understand that, like hearing somebody say like, oh, that's not bodybuilding can be offensive. But if you've never done it, then you don't know.
You don't know. Exactly. So for the longest, so many would say, well, I could do bikini. Nah, you couldn't, and they take it like, oh, that's easy. I can do that. And I want to look like that. And when you look at Fit Models, the thing of trying to hold them back because you're talking about a prep, 4 to 6 weeks, but you're trying to keep them not to grow, not to look muscular. So that's a challenge in of itself.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult, right? Like I was just talking to one of my clients, she's a coach and she was, peaking a Fit Model. And I'm thinking in my head, like peaking a Fit Model. Like, what do you mean peaking? Like, because as a coach, like honestly, what I would do is I would get them to where they need to be and I'd coach them in. Because they don't have to have massive separation.
No. So
there's not really a ton of peaking. There's just pulling off fatigue, letting them rest so that
muscularity.
Like how? Like so and it's not me like being mean or anything. It's just I am a coach. I understand this. I've been around this for longer than some of these people have been alive. And my brain got used to big people when I was 10 years old. Like, so people, my friends would think that somebody had a lot of muscle on them and I'd be like, because you've
never been to a pro show to see.
Yeah. My thought process and my standards are much higher. So I think that gives me an advantage as a coach because I've been around it for a long time.
Who is your coach, and what has he said in reference to getting ready to do wellness going into the 2026 season?
Yeah, I love talking about my coach because he's a coach and he has really high standards for what he wants to be on
Mm-hmm.
stage, right? For his athletes, right? And, his name
Right.
is Mike. His name is Mike Nassif. He's a up and coming coach as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's young. He's I think like 26, 27 years old, but he's already accrued several pro cards with his athletes. And I picked him because he's one, an up and coming coach, has a lot of knowledge about chem use, knowledge that far
Mm-hmm.
surpasses me.
Right.
And I'm learning a lot from him. I'm like I told you, I'm big on training. So I needed somebody who was going to be really collaborative with me on training, and was going to allow me to have my input. But I listen to what my coach says, but I wanted somebody that was going to hear me because I know my body. Like I
Right.
know when things are growing, I have a really big awareness of that. So I can tell him like, hey, this movement really works for me. Are we able
Mm-hmm.
to add it in a couple times a week? And so I needed him to trust that I know what is going to work for me. But I
Right.
also needed somebody that was going to hold me accountable because I am a coach. And as a coach that travels a lot, when people are actually coaching, they go to their athlete shows. They're
Right.
there for them like a coach would. And
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes I have weeks where I'm traveling like every week for a month or two.
Right.
And that can get really draining and can get tough on my progress as an athlete because things
Mm-hmm.
aren't consistent. So like, I might train, but I'm going to train at a different facility. Like I can't get around that. Or
Mm-hmm.
if my athlete needs something, their needs come before mine. So I needed
Exactly.
a coach that was gonna still hold me accountable regardless of my schedule because I have a tendency to be like my athlete needs me. And
Right.
there have been a couple times where he's been like, I understand, but if you want to go pro and this is your goal, your expectations are still up here. And so
Right.
he's definitely done that for me and I've been really grateful for that. But as far as his thoughts about wellness and me transitioning, when I first came to him, his words were, we have some work to do to make you more suitable for the criteria of wellness.
Right.
He said he was being straight up. He was like, you're still small for that division. You definitely have great posing. You have a good personality. You have a really nice way of presenting yourself, but that's not enough.
Right.
And you need to get bigger. And so we've definitely been pushing I've been working with him for almost a year now. And so I think I've made a lot of progress in that regard. A couple months ago, we had talked about selecting shows and he was like, I would love to bring you to junior nats.
Mm-hmm.
Should your physique be worthy of that? And like,
Right.
you don't know how much I appreciate that type of communication because there are a lot of coaches out there that would be like, yeah, let's take you to junior nats and hope for the best. Like he's like, you know,
Yeah.
you need to be worthy of that and it needs to make sense. Like it
Yeah.
needs to be worth your time. And so, on my end as an athlete, my goal is to just keep showing up the best that I can. And he
Mm-hmm.
will tell me if he feels like I'm ready. And he wouldn't lie. I know he wouldn't. So
Right. And it's a marathon, not a sprint. Everybody
mhm,
want that quick, reaction, that quick satisfaction, and it takes time
yeah.
to grow into the sport,
Yeah.
especially grow into being a pro. After you get that pro card, well, then there's another step. Welcome back to being going into that first pro show, and it's a growth process that a lot of people just don't understand. But once they get in it, it's like, you
Yeah.
know, this is
Yeah.
me.
I'm really enjoying the process. So I'm not in a rush. I told him, I said, I at the very least want to win an overall and I want to
Right.
be competitive at the national level, but I'm
Right.
not gonna like absolutely shit myself if like I don't
Right.
get that because that would be that would be asking for, I don't want to say a little too much, but what's the word? It's just unrealistic to think that
Yes.
it would maybe happen first, second, or even third time. I think that there's a way that we pay our dues a little bit in bodybuilding. And it's only after we've done things right for a certain amount of time. And I can tell you, I don't think I had been doing things right until about 2022. And I've been competing since 2018. I'm sorry. Yeah, 2018. And so it took me a long time to find my footing. But if you're going years and spinning your wheels and you don't have that like point of, oh, I could be doing this better, you know, and actually changing the way that you do things, actually learning from people that have done this, or being around people that are in the pro leagues already, you're not going to understand what it takes. Like, and so I don't think I really understood it until about 2022. And then when I moved out to Dallas this past year, my level of expansion of what it takes changed again, because now I'm around people like Ashley. Now I'm around people, you know, a lot of IFBB pros that are training out here. And I'm like, oh, that's what you guys are doing. So it makes it a lot different when you see what they actually put themselves through on a daily basis.
Yeah, and Amanda Amadova, she's a figure pro. She recently moved from New Jersey to Texas. And Texas, I look at it like a venue, because that's exactly what it is. There's so many shows in Texas. The NPC, Texas is huge. And you're right there like a mecca. And I could say the same about Florida. But you got so many options and opportunities available to you just right there in the NPC Texas, and the fact the Texas Pro and all the different shows. And of course, the Nationals will be in December there in Texas. So,
yeah,
I mean, you're in a great spot.
Yeah. And so it's like, you know, I'm having so much fun being out here, because it's like bodybuilding is all I really they do. Like, I mean, my mom was, you know, my mom was doing it, you know, when I was younger, and she's not anymore. But like, once you start bodybuilding, your life is different. It never goes back. And I remember her telling me that when I was a kid. She was like, if you really want to do this, please just wait until you're done with school, because your life won't be the same after. The way you view things won't be the same after. And I was like, I didn't realize it until I started it. And she was right. Like, my whole world changed, and my friends changed, and it was all for the better. It actually kept me on straight. But, you know, I work with people every day that bodybuild, you know, so it's really cool to be around people all the time that just get it, and it changes your enjoyment of it, because you don't have to constantly explain like why you're doing something or anything like that. So when
you look at the overall picture now, being in Texas, great venue, and like I say, I look at the venue and the different shows. Do you rather go across country to do a show, or just right there in your backyard there in Texas, or do you even care?
I'm doing a Texas show. I'm doing a Texas show. Like, I definitely want to do a Texas show. If I didn't go to nationals next year, I still want to do a few shows. I don't just want to do one. I like Florida too. So I would, you know, if I had a choice, I would compete in Texas, in Florida, and then hopefully nationals. So that would be like the dream for me next year.
And like I said, there'll be no shortage of shows for wellness, and you're gonna do great. I got no doubt, especially because you're around the right people and who you're training with. Talk to me about Awakened Physiques, and then talk to me about the podcast Chase Real Dopamine podcast.
Hey, you got it right. Awakened Physique. So I have a team of about 60 clients right now. Clients and athletes. Yeah. I've been coaching online since 2020, 2021. And it really just happened because I wanted to increase the standard of coaching. Like I said, like a real coach, they're going to their athlete shows and they're present with them and they're properly peaking them, and they're a tool, like they're an asset. And coaches that are actually coaching, they have, in my opinion, like pressure to bring their clients in the way that they need to be in, because it's a standard for their brands, but it's also to make sure that the athlete is happy with their package, so that the athlete enjoys bodybuilding. You don't enjoy bodybuilding when you come with a package that you're not happy with. And so I think it's on the coach, if you're going to hire a coach, to make sure that they have that same care that you're going to have with your physique. And so I started coaching back then just because I was like, I think I could increase the standard of coaching. And it took me a while to get my first person that I wanted to put on stage. Why? Because quality matters to me, of the athlete, being able to show up in a way that I'm asking them to. So I started like fully coaching in 2020, 2021, but I didn't put my first athlete on stage until 2023. And that was after time of building athletes. Like, I didn't just take a person and say, let's get on stage. I took people and I was like, okay, this is what you need to do. We need to take time to grow. These were first time athletes. We need to take time to grow. Let's be okay with it. And then we put you on stage. Every single person that I put on stage the first time in 2023, they all won their shows. And even now, like, my standard, I don't want to say my standard is winning, because really my standard is that they're happy with their package and they improve every time. But they need to have some enjoyment that comes with getting on stage, that is able to show the full breadth of their physique with the hard work that they've done, but then also with the coach that's able to peak them properly. And so that's how Awakened Physiques happened, was by me starting to coach. I was working with a previous coaching team for a few years as well. Awakened didn't get its inception until earlier this year. So I've been a coach since 2021. Awakens didn't come into fruition until February of this year. So I'm working on growing my brand right now. I've hired an assistant coach. So she helps me with posing my bikini and wellness girls. And I have an assistant now that helps with like scheduling things for me. So I'm starting to get pretty busy travel wise and stuff like that, which is crazy. I can't believe I'm here at this point. And I love what I do. So I'm a coach. I'm always a coach first. That's what, like, I feel my main calling is, but I absolutely am so happy to continue to bodybuild because that's what I want. So.
Well, I got to ask you now, and you already hinted at it with your coach. You have 60 athletes. How are you going to manage the time for yourself to get ready for your show as you go into 2026? Have you thought about that?
Yeah.
Because you got a heck of a schedule.
So what's crazy is that when you start out as a coach, at first you think 20 athletes is a lot. You're like drowning in 20 athletes and you're like, oh my goodness, this is so much work. And then you start getting better at your processes, and then 20 athletes is like nothing. And then you get to 40 and it's like same thing. And then you get to 60 and then you just get better over time. But 60 might sound like a lot, but I've had upwards of 100. And so I'm used to a really big workload. So what I have now is simply to be able to manage my business, make sure that I'm there for my assistant coaches and assistant. And I'm living a pretty good life right now. So I don't personally feel overworked. But as I grow, yes, that will be something that we need to think about. I will probably need to manage travel, because I don't think that work online is going to be a problem. What I think is going to be problematic is travel. And so as long as I can get what I need to done in prep, especially as things get down to the nitty gritty, I'll be okay. But if it's one of those things where I really can't make an athlete show, then that's, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right. But it's one of those things I just got to communicate with my own coach. There really is an athlete show that I need to fly to that I've planned yet for next year. That's around the time that I'm going to be like in the depths of prep. So,
Right.
mhm.
And I'm going to say, what's more important, that pro card or the coaching? Because it's like you definitely have a passion for coaching. Do you love coaching more than competing? And then can you manage both? And could it flip to where, okay, you know what? I'm gonna shut down coaching for a while. And again, it depends on how much help you have and assistance, and you're building that. But what's more important? Which one do you love best?
So I don't think that I really need to choose. In all
Mhm.
honesty,
Okay.
It's just a matter of being smart about where my athletes are competing and
Hmm.
being smart about the timing of it, because really I could really only see it becoming problematic if I had the same show as another athlete of mine on the same weekends or within the last like 4 weeks of prep, in which
Right.
case that's only a month. Like,
Right.
so it's easy to not schedule any of their shows during that time, and they'll be
Right.
understanding. Because the thing is clients and athletes are also working with you because you're walking that walk too. Like, they're
Yes.
not, they're not working with you because you're not doing it. Like, they're
Hmm.
inspired by you to some degree. So they're happy to be like, do your
Hmm.
thing. Let's figure out another time. Like, I've never had athletes that were not willing to help me out during those times.
Right.
So, mhm.
But I mean, I gotta say, you very well could be training someone who could beat you on stage. Have you thought that? I mean, that
Yeah.
would be great. That'd be the ultimate, I think, confirmation to you. But I mean, I just got to say, it's tough to manage. You'll see over time, but your
Yeah.
day is coming on that stage, and you're gonna get hit by the bug. Next thing you know, pro card, win the pro show. I guess with that, I'll ask you, where do you see yourself in 3 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oof.
Or have you thought that far out?
Yeah. So definitely in 3 years, I see my coaching business a lot bigger.
Hmm.
Um, Definitely hiring on more coaches under me, and just a lot more athletes in the fold, like with my brand. For my own for my own athlete endeavors, I would I see myself very competitive at like at the national level for wellness at that time. Um,
Hmm.
if not have accrued a pro card by 5 years for sure. Like, I could definitely see that for me in 5 years. And it's not really a time limit that I'm giving myself or anything, but I'm 31 now, right?
Yes,
So,
you're just 31.
just
Yeah,
31, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I don't have kids.
Hmm.
I don't have a partner, and I
Right,
haven't been married. So I'm like I can do whatever I want, right?
right.
So I don't have anything that is tying me down anywhere. So
Mhm.
as long as that continues, not that I'm not open to any type of partnership or anything like that,
Right,
but
right.
I just have this freedom that I'm not taking for granted right now. Because I know a lot of people that would die to be in my position.
Right.
Like, they've gone through a lot. Maybe they've gone through 3 or 4 divorces, like, and
Yes,
have
yes.
like 5 kids, and they
Mhm.
can't do
Right,
what their dreams are calling them to do. And
right.
I'm very fortunate, and I just thank God every day for it. So I'm gonna make it happen because I'm just grateful for where I'm at. So
Good stuff. Talk to me about the podcast. And like I use Amazon's podcast, definitely promotes the magazine, celebrate the female physique.
right.
Uh, Chase real dopamine.
Mhm.
There's something in the meaning, obviously.
Yeah. So
You tell me. It's like you gotta chase the right dopamine, but what
mhm.
is real dopamine?
So Chase Real Dopamine started because I had came out to Dallas, and I actually stayed out here for 2-3 months before I
Hmm.
moved out here. I stayed with a
Hmm.
friend of mine. And during that time, you know, I was going through some healing things. I was going through some things that I just needed to grow into my womanhood. And I did
Hmm.
that for while I was out here, kind of isolated in a way, while I was moving on from Ohio, stuff like that. And I had noticed just it's hard in the online space because we forget that it's an online space and it's real, but it's not real. People only show you things that they want to show you. Even now, I'm only talking about the things that I want people to know about. Let's just be honest, right?
Right.
And so I started to get like really annoyed, like because I was like, wow, people really bug out over this. But if all this was gone today and we all threw our phones away and our laptops away and all that, we would just have each other, right? And my mantra during that time, when I became overwhelmed with that, like when I became overwhelmed with that feeling of just annoyance of people being unaware of their own selves online, was chase real dopamine. Because chase real dopamine means make sure you value the right things. Like make sure you really know what matters, because when you get so caught up in this, sometimes you don't know what's what from what. And so Ashley's been one of the people that we are like tight on that ideology. Like you see Ashley, she'll disappear on social media. Like she'll just like disappear and focus on herself when she needs to. And I like that. And I wish I could do that, but I'm in a different place in my coaching career, in my athletic career. And so I had asked her to come on because I needed a co-host and I wanted somebody that embodied that as well. I wanted someone that had the same ways of thinking, not necessarily somebody who's the same as me, but values the same things. And so in that movement, I realized that she would actually be the perfect person for that, because not only do we connect and we have really great chemistry, but she lives that. When she needs to focus on her, she hones in on what matters. She hones in on the real stuff, not what's making her look popular or what's making her look like she's doing stuff. It's what's actually happening. So Chase Real Dopamine, the name is just to make sure that you understand what really matters and what's actually happening in your life. So.
And social media is the island of make-believe for sure. And a lot of people can get carried away in it. You got to use it for what it's worth, promote your business or whatnot, but you just can't get caught up. And, nobody is real on social media. That's just a character that we're all playing. So that's maybe 10%, 15%, maybe 20% of who you really are, because you got to be careful to share what you share, what you don't share, while at the same time coming off as authentic. And Ashley definitely does that. Where's your podcast? It's on the YouTube. Obviously, I'm following you now and everything. I'll be checking it out.
Yeah.
How often do you do it?
So we release episodes every Friday, but right now we're taking some time off so she can
obviously.
Yeah. But we're on Spotify and we will be on YouTube here in like the next week or two. So
good deal. Good deal. I've enjoyed talking with you.
I'm glad that you have, Glenn.
Yeah. Good to meet you. And hey, you got to make your way to North Carolina. Maybe I'll make it down there to Texas. But especially if you start your journey, I always want to feature you in the magazine. Thanks for doing the questionnaire. And we'll formulate an article from it. And anything that you want to contribute, let me know. Let me know how your business is going. And of course, I'll be following you as well. So great talking to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This was fun.
Yep. Talk soon.
Talk soon.
Oh, well, let me give you the last word. Shouts out or anything you want to leave your athletes, as now you get ready to go to the Olympia this weekend, which is great. But anything else you want to say?
No, thank you guys for listening. Good luck, Ashley. She's at the Olympia right now. And you guys can find me at Brittney Justice on Instagram.
Got you.
Cool.
Brittney Holloman, NPC wellness competitor now. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Talk soon. And there you have it. Great personality. at the time when I was started following, I didn't really know that she was actually doing the podcast with Ashley, so that worked out great. And they're in Texas, so uh, always glad to meet new up and comers. And who knows, she could be the next big thing because you never want to take someone light. You never want to doubt anyone as to what they can do. So great talking with her and looking for bigger and better things. Brittney Justice Holloman at Waken Physiques and at Chase Real Dopamine Podcast. Make sure you go and check it out. I'm Glenn Young, GPS Photography and Video, gpsphotoandvideo.com. Of course, is the sponsor of Amazon's Fitness Magazine and as well as the podcast. Appreciate all the followers. J. Kendall Mack. There's a follower that's in Australia that's bought every issue of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. So really appreciate you, man. He's like, every time he gets the latest copy, he'll let me know, hey, just got it, great magazine. So I appreciate everyone supporting that. And I would urge everyone to go and subscribe to Amazon's fitmag.com. All those that follow the YouTube channel, thanks for all your support. I really appreciate you. Coming up tomorrow, we'll air the Wellness Wednesday with Melissa Guerrero. So make sure you check it out and make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well and all social medias of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. Make sure you go out of Amazon's